What do you think of my title picture? Welcome to Fantasy Fight League 289 for UFC 289, Olivera versus Dariush for the World Lightweight bout, featuring a co-headliner of Nunes versus Aldana, because you got to put them somewhere, right?
Need a belt on the card at some point, and, well, apparently second is where the belt goes.
Yeah, it's the brownest man belt.
Hi.
You're here with Taylor and Casey, and special guest, Casey's girlfriend Sasha, who...
I do not know this woman. She wandered in off the street and then had money for gambling, so she made some picks.
Yeah, we'll see about those picks. Say hi, Sasha.
I don't like the tone of voice and the confidence.
Say hi, Sasha.
Hi.
All right. The rules, as always, you've got $1,000 of fantasy money to use. You need to place at least $100 in every fight in the main card, allegedly. And the highest payout at the end of the night wins. So, first fight of the night for us will be one that only I am on. That is Chris the Action Man Curtis versus Nasruddin Imavov. I couldn't pass this one up. I love Chris Curtis.
This is the final prelim fight, right?
This is the final prelim fight. They did Chris Curtis dirty again. He just got off the top of the prelims with Kelvin Gastelum. It was a great fight. He lost it. My hope here is that Nasruddin Imavov is not good enough to deal with Chris Curtis just like standing there and hitting him with 1-2s at a not that fast pace and not really having anything more advanced than that, and just loses. It was good enough for Sean Strickland to get it done against Nasruddin, and I think it's going to be good enough for Chris Curtis to get it done. Just hope that Nasruddin doesn't do anything like, I don't know, be decent at fighting at range, in which case Chris Curtis will have absolutely nothing for him. Or just not engage.
I gotta say, looking at Chris Curtis, he's had 40 fights, and he's only been knocked out once. As far as like MMA career goes,
hell of a chin.
I mean, hell of a chin, but also doing pretty good for the TBIs.
No, for real. I mean, 17-1 in knockouts. He's lost 8 decisions. Of his 10 losses, 8 are decisions. And we saw it against Kelvin Gastelum. We saw it against Jack Hermansson before that. Problem is, if people just like are better than him, he just doesn't know what to do, and he's not willing to just get in there and get it done. But I think that Nasruddin Imavov is just not better than him, and that's what I'm banking on tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, and that's Chris Curtis's place to shine. In that Curtis's last fight with Gastelum, Gastelum was in rare shape. He looked phenomenal. Yeah, I think that's just what it was. Chris Curtis had some great moments there, but at the end of the day, I think Gastelum just stayed busier, had more work going on, and that's why the judges gave him the nod.
I thought he was over the hill, but he's not. But fortunately, Nasruddin Imavov has never been over the hill. So for me, that's $200 on Chris Curtis at plus 130.
Really? He's the underdog.
Couldn't pass up the underdog pick. Had to take it. Said, all right, we'll put 200 on that one. All right, but that leads us to the first fight of the main card, which we all have bets on. And that is Eric ya boy Anders versus Marc-Andre Barrios. I think that we all had a little bit of different picks on this one. Casey, what are you thinking?
I cannot remember entirely what I put on this one just yet, although I'm pretty sure I know what I did. I think looking at both these guys, I didn't have much data to go on. I think this is like only their third or fourth fights in the UFC apiece. And then based off their records, each of these guys have knockouts on there. So I'm pretty sure that's what played into my bet.
I think I remember seeing that. My thought here, I think I was looking at the both of them. I was having a tough time picking. Eric Anders is a bit older, but he's kind of a unit. It's not like Marc-Andre Barrios has been doing that great. He's got the hometown advantage, kinda, up in Canada. I mean, we're in North America, so what are you going to do about that? But I think for me, I felt that I think Barrios was the underdog on this one, and I believe that's what I went with. Sasha, what were you thinking here? What's the pro tips that you can give us?
Anders.
And why?
Because my technique is I go on the UFC page and I look at the full pictures of them, and I look at their feet and it tells me who's like more confident in their stance, and also if they have weird pale feet, I just don't trust them. And so I'm going with Eric Enders. His feet stance is more confident, and Mark looks like he has little noodle toes. So
There you go. Sasha goes to
There you go.
UFC.com for feet picks.
I didn't pick
Thanks,
Barrios
Dan
as
White.
an underdog. I picked him as the favorite of the MMA guru, I think is actually what I said. I said, damn, 135. I'm just going to go with the pros thing. Who's over the hill? That's how I'm trying to make money today.
I put $100 on this fight. It's going to end by a finish. So either submission or knockout. $100 at even money. Not bad, especially
Not bad.
for considering it's people I don't know.
I think it's a solid 50-50 bet.
All right, on to the next one.
All right. Dan 50K Ige, Hawaiian native, I like it, versus Nate the Train Landwehr. We going right into the bets on this one, Casey?
No, just gotta say it is Nate the fucking Train. This guy is one of my favorite fighters. He is just always exciting to watch. His fights are wild, and the man has a chin made of just stone. Like, I'm here for it.
So I was looking through it, and I like Nate Landwehr. I think he's a cool guy. Dan Ige has only lost to and put up decent fights against top level fighters. I think he lost to Calvin Kattar. He lost to some other top guys. I can't remember who off the top of my head. I think maybe Chen Sung Jung was in there. High level fighters. And while he's had some of the losses, the fact is that he's losing to the elite. He might end up being a gatekeeper, but I just don't know that 35 that Landwehr is going to make it. It was kind of a toss-up for me. Landwehr has started training at MMA Masters down in Miami, which was a switch-up that he did after his last loss. I think since then he's been in a 3-fight win streak. He's looked a lot better. So maybe he's catching a second wind in his career. So I kind of 50-50 on it. And then I saw that Nate the Train was a plus 215 underdog. And I said, easy money.
So these people don't know what they're doing.
If I'm 50-50 on it and somebody's giving me a plus 215, like, let's go, baby. Sasha, what's your thoughts here?
Well, based off feet stances.
Okay. I think that Nate just had a more athletic stance.
Well, Nate has moose feet. And so, like, when you do this,
He's got massive moose feet.
Like-
or moose feet.
I need you, when you edit this video, to zoom in on his feet. But if you see here, it, like, curves in like mooses. And normally, that would be a red flag. But for
Right,
some
he's got a
reason,
weird arch going on.
For some reason, I appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
so unique that I picked him. Also,
Might have a little bit of web
His
toes
face-
happening.
his face looks like normal SpongeBob. And the other guy has, like, a softness to him. So, I went with Nate.
That's fair. You did violate the rule of putting at least $100 each fight in the main card, however, on this one.
Yeah, that was
Oh, but-
Which is that's a major party foul, but I'll forgive it
Oh,
this
I
time.
have to put more than $100?
I'll forgive it this time.
Okay. Sorry. I ran out of my distribution.
all right. On to the next one. We got Adam Fugit, like
I think
forget
it's
about it.
Fugit.
Fugit
I think it's Fugit.
and Mike Mallett, Mr. Proper. So Adam Fugit coming in, 34 years of age, 9-3. Mike Mallett, 31 years of age, 9-1.
So Mike Mallett, he used to fight at 145. I think he has a loss to Hakeem Dawodu on his record. However, this fight is happening at welterweight. And let me tell you, welterweight Mike Mallett has been looking stacked. Like, the man looks big, too big for welterweight. I don't know what he's been on, but he's 6'1" and jacked. And he's 9-1. He's coming off 3 straight first-round finishes, I believe, one of which was on the Contender Series, I think.
Yep.
But he's just getting it done. They're putting him in his hometown. You know the UFC is setting this boy up. You know why they put him on here. Hometown hero, coming in, getting the job done, and maybe trying to make a star out of him. If he gets a big win here, they can start, making his name, making some money. Adam Fugit's a little older. It's not a bad fighter, but it's a little soft, He's not coming off 3 first-round knockouts, and he doesn't look like an absolute unit who does not belong at welterweight. Although he is 6'1" as well.
From the business standpoint, yeah, I could see the UFC trying to do that with Mike Mallett. To be honest, going into this card, I had absolutely no idea who either of these guys were. I've never seen them before. However, digging into it, yeah, Mike Mallett's on a bit of a tear. He's had some great showings coming off the Contender Series. And then as far as Adam goes, he's a young, I mean, I hate to say I'm a younger fighter at the age of 34, but he's only got 12 professional fights under his belt. So I think if this is for Mike Mallett, I think it's hometown boy. So, yeah.
Sasha, you bet big on this one.
I did. I have a lot of confidence in Mike. He just looks like a nice Canadian boy. And like he also plays hockey on the side.
Okay.
And I just appreciate him.
He's just a nice Canadian boy who's gonna go in there, have a handshake, and be a real professional about it. Is that?
Well,
is
he
that the
also
thought?
kind of reminds me of my favorite snowboarder, Mark McMorris. Like they look somewhat
You figure
comparable.
he can
So
probably snowboard too.
I figure the man is a jack of all trades. I saw that the fight was also in Canada, so I wanted to give that to him. And
So you're letting
Also-
down Eugene, Oregon, Adam Fugit over there.
feet stance is substantially better than Adam.
Just-
Adam looks like he has duck feet. He's just flat, whereas Mike has an oomph in his stance.
I mean, you put it and by sub. Any reason why you picked sub in this case?
Just seemed like he's too nice to knock someone out, so he'll probably do a submission.
Not sure about that second part,
That's my theory.
but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's go. All right, moving on to the co-main event, which is definitely Irene Aldana versus Amanda the Lioness Nunes. I think this is going to be a classic Nunes W. I felt confident putting a couple $100 down on Nunes. She's only a minus 315 favorite. I think Irene Aldana's been looking in great form. The Mexican takeover has been coming for the UFC. I think that on the feet, Irene Aldana could probably do some good boxing with Amanda Nunes. But I think that people are forgetting that Amanda Nunes is just going to get in there and just punch her in the face real good with bigger, stronger arms. Amanda Nunes could be fighting 145. And at the end of the day, I think she could just take Irene Aldana down and just do whatever she wants with her. And I think she's just too big and too strong.
All right, hear me out. The UFC has a very, very good roster of female fighters.
Yes,
However,
we all know this.
There's absolutely levels to this, and there's a few women that are just head and shoulders above the rest, and Amanda Nunes is by far one of them.
This is true.
There's a reason she is the champ. She had a misstep with the last loss she had, but quickly came back, showed that she learned her lesson, and I don't see her losing form anytime soon.
I do think that, listen, we did learn from the Juliana Pena 1 fight that being decent at fighting will get you the win over Amanda Nunes. But I don't think that Irene Aldana is decent enough for Amanda Nunes not just like steamroll her. I don't know that she's going to outbox her, but I think she might just grab her and get it done. And Irene Aldana's never really been the best. Also, Irene Aldana apparently can't make 135. She's missed weight in her last fight. I think all 3 of her last fights, at least one of the people in the fight missed weight. I think one was a catch weight for her. Her opponent missed weight. She missed weight. And then she had another miss with earlier in her career. I'm just and now she's got to cut down an extra pound. You know, it's not 136, which they'll let you get away with when it's not a championship fight. She has to be at 135, which we have seen people have struggled with in the past. Charles Oliveira.
Well, I was going to say she's no Hamzat, who's just deciding to make up the 183 weight class.
The Paulo Costa.
Oh, yeah, that Paulo too.
Sounds like a personal problem that I'm 30 pounds overweight.
How are you 30 pounds overweight? 1 weekend of the fight. Oh, sounds like a you problem, my guy.
Sasha, you also bet big on this one.
Yes. She just looks. I just looked at the UFC website. She has the belts. She looks scarier. Feet, better position, more confident. And I saw her in a deodorant commercial, so I knew the name, and I went with her.
I would have expected a Modelo commercial before a deodorant one.
Was it
but
Modelo or was it like Amanda Nunes?
do you know what a
does
Modelo is?
The beer.
It is a beer. There you go. It's a Modelo, actually the #1 beer in the United States currently.
Really?
Yes, they
How'd that
recently.
happen?
Well, you see, the #1 kind of pulled an Amanda Nunes and got knocked out by someone who was decent at their job.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Any reason why you're thinking sub in this case?
I
You got a feeling?
have
Do you
feelings.
just not want people to get knocked out?
No, I also just
Having a feeling can be a strong. That
I
could be a strong.
I have
strong
a feeling
strategy.
that like she's just gonna like not knock her out, but like do something so hard that it will be like she'll have to quit the fight.
She's just gonna make her quit.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just gonna tap out. I can see it happening. All right, let's move on. That brings us to the people's main event.
The people's
The
main
people's
event.
main event of the evening. Beneil Dariush versus Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. Feels like a title fight. It's definitely a #1 contender fight, I think. I think if Beneil Dariush wins, you have to give him the title shot. He's been looking so good lately. If Charles Oliveira wins, I could see him getting a rematch, maybe, but I can also see him going for one more, making him do one more before giving him the rematch, just because Islam won so dominantly. But he was definitely looking a little bit off that night, but not out of character, just off. Casey, what do you think?
So, for this fight in particular, Dariush he looks good, but at the same time, Charles Oliveira has been looking better than he's ever been outside of the last fight with Makhachev when he got out wrestled effectively. But once Charles Oliveira got the belt, he just like he threw all caution to the wind at that point. Honestly, just came out of the gates swinging in fights, and it worked super well for him up until the point that it didn't with Makhachev. But yeah, I think Charles Oliveira is. I think it's entirely possible for him to take this home. At the same time, it is also entirely possible that Dariush gets this done as well, and that's the reason for my bets. But we'll get into it a bit. Sasha, what do you have?
Well, I didn't know much about them, so just based off feet stance, I chose Charles. Also, I recognize the name from previous fights that we've watched.
Yes, you've also probably heard me and Taylor bitch and moan about Charles Oliveira
Yes.
many a time.
He wins when you want him to lose. He loses when you want him to win.
Yes.
Yeah, the one fight that I think Taylor and I were cheering for was we were hoping that he would beat Makhachev so that we could finally put the Dagestan chapter to bed, but nope. Still there.
Just went out there and just threw it.
Yeah.
That was my philosophy.
All right.
You think he's gonna get a knockout?
Yeah, I don't know. I heard you guys talk about him a lot. He seems to have a better stance. Do you see what I mean by the feet? Like, look at the feet difference. Like, he has a good.
He's got a wider stance.
This guy looks like
He's ready to go.
he's
yeah.
like
He's not. Charles is not. Beneil
his
is relaxed.
feet are giving me like
He's just chilling.
I'm.
Charles
I'm
is
here
like
and
already
I'm
in the
good.
fight in
Yeah,
his picture.
he's in the
Yeah.
fight. This guy.
Beneil's just doing a photo shoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the people who take the pictures more seriously.
You've got another
I
party
take
foul.
them more seriously.
So for
Sorry,
the bets,
I didn't quite understand.
I have Dariush by knockout for $200 at plus 225, and then I have a split bet here, which is Oliveira by submission for $200 at plus 300. I figured this fight really only goes one of two ways. Either Oliveira is going to submit him, or Dariush is going to finish him. So that's really the only options for me.
I'll tell you straight up. I don't think that's bad. Plus 300. So
I don't know if my dogs were large enough to make the split bet worth it necessarily. Because if Oliveira does get the submission, I'll win 500, but then lose 200, so only be up $300. Versus Dariush gets a knockout, I'll only be up like like 250.
Well, you'll win if Oliveira gets a sub at plus 300. You'll get $800 back for the $400 investment in that split. So you'll make $400.
Yeah. All right. We'll see.
Now I don't know that I honestly don't know that that's safe. I could see a knockout or a sub coming from either one of them. Honestly, I think that Beneil could get on top of Charles like Islam did and get the sub. I think he could knock him out. I think obviously Charles can get the sub, and Charles is dangerous. He's got really offensive striking. It's really shown in his last few fights, and I think he could potentially get the knockout. I don't know if that's safe, but overall for me, I think that this fight is definitely going to end in a finish. I think that's a given, and I think that Beneil should be the favorite to me. So I picked Beneil by finish because I felt the finish was a given. They gave me a plus 150 on it. I thought, yeah, great, I'll absolutely take that. I put $300 down on it. I think it's pretty good. I think a big thing about Charles versus Beneil here is Beneil's looked fantastic. He absolutely schooled Mateusz Gamrot in that last fight. He's just been looking so good. Charles Oliveira has looked really good. He had the same problem in all three of his title fights against Chandler, Justin, and Dustin, and that was that he just got dropped. He got dropped, and he shouldn't have made it out of the Chandler fight. Chandler got him, and Charles barely survived. I was amazed that he was able to bob and weave his way out of there and make it through. Against Dustin and Justin, he got dropped, got hurt, and just did that fall back into guard and hope they don't come after me position. And we saw against Islam Makhachev that it turns out if you do follow him to the ground, you can just finish him. He's hurt. You could just do it. And I honestly think that certainly Dustin Poirier could have gone down to the ground with him and probably finished him off. I think that he was hurt enough that he could have done it. Honestly, Justin Gaethje probably could have too if he had been willing to, but he just wasn't. And I think that Beneil Dariush, like Islam Makhachev, is going to definitely hurt him, knock him down, and then just be willing to go to the ground and finish him off. I just see that's how it's going to go. It's how it's how the past 4 fights have gone. The only question has been, are they willing to follow him down and can they get him out of there? I think the answer in this case is going to be yes.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. Had Chandler won the Oliveira fight, we would be on an entirely different timeline, and the title picture and all the things that would have happened in the last 2.5 years would be completely different.
Who knows what would have happened?
Probably
they would have done Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Justin Gaethje would have won, and they probably would have gone straight into
the Poirier rematch.
Probably the Poirier rematch for the undisputed title, unless Poirier really wanted to get that money fight off of Conor, which I could see him doing. Maybe then it would have been Makhachev versus Gaethje, which would have been interesting with the Khabib history. But we'll see how this one goes. I feel confident in my bets. I feel like everyone else feels confident in their bets. I'm excited.
I feel all right on my bets for this card. Honestly, the bet that I feel the best about, and the one that I'm most excited for, is Nate the Train to win. I'm ready for my boy to get back in there and put on a show.
Nate the Train in the UFC, baby.
Absolutely. Overall, though, I gotta say I'm not too excited for this card in general. Title fight doesn't really interest me too much. The Dariush Oliveira fight is the biggest fight on the card for me, and then the Nate the Train fight is the most fun fight. And
all right, hold on. Forget that Amanda Nunes versus Irina Aldana is on this card. Now, how do you feel about it?
I still feel rather lackluster.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because it's like
this one's enough for me. There's just this one alone.
I'm very meh, like 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. We'll see. All right.
Maybe 6 for Nate.
Let's see what our risk tolerances were on this one. So, surprisingly to me, because I entered like a dozen different bets for Sasha, she comes in the lowest risk tolerance, only a potential payout of 20.95.71. We're all pretty tight here. I was right in the middle. Casey, you were up at 225.
I think my number is, if you do the math correct, my number is a bit interesting after having looked at some of the bets I've made, because I did put $300 on Nate the Train at plus 300. Mm-hmm. So that should like bump my stock up a lot. However, I think the Oliveira Dariush fight where I did the split bet with $400, that definitely will lower the total down. So.
Yeah, I mean, you think of it this way: the functional bet, if we have $1,000 for 2,000, that you functionally averaged out like a plus 100 betting line.
Yeah, just about.
So it seems about right.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I feel responsible this time.
I bet on a lot of underdogs and a lot of prop bets, and I only came out at like a little over plus 100, so it's probably not very good.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Any closing thoughts, Sasha? How do you feel? Do you feel ready?
I feel good.
Do you feel good about your
I'm
bets?
excited about the Nate one and the Canadian guy, and I feel like this is the most interesting women's fight I'm going to see since I started watching UFC with Casey. So
If you watched any Valentina Shevchenko fights,
I want to say
no,
Shevchenko and Weili Zhang.
no, Weili Zhang like actually knows how to fight. It's pretty
Yes.
impressive. Like no one's beating her in strawweight. She's
Oh, it was
actually good.
Joanna Jacek and
Weili
Weili
Zhang.
Zhang. They had some good fights as well.
Yeah.
And then Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas, they've had some decent fights as well.
The other fights were good. I mean, the one was pretty short. But
Yeah, I mean, well,
there
you
was
talk about the
where,
one
like,
where
nothing happened.
that was Rose Namajunas and
Carlos Esparza,
Carlos Esparza. Yeah, that one was a big nothing burger.
the worst
but
fight of all time.
that one was very disappointing to see because previously Rose was coming off a gorgeous head kick knockout against Weili Zhang of all people, and that was a fantastic fight with a fantastic finish. And then to go and do a 5-round snooze fest, it didn't make a lot of sense, and it left a lot of people pretty upset.
Rightfully so.
Those people be me.
Well, I think that's not what we're going to see in any of the cards in this main card here. I think we're going to get the action from the action man.
Yeah,
He's going to give us a great lead off into the main card.
I think we're going to be seeing a good amount of finishes this card. There was a lot of talk between us, at least, regarding people doing finishes, and a lot of the people that are on the card just by the stats don't really go to decisions too often. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, with that, we'll hopefully do the recap in a couple days. Tune in to see how badly we all fucked up. And Sasha, I hope that beginner's luck holds out for you. It held out for me when I first started, and then never came back since.
I
Here we
hope
are,
so too.
the betting pits of depression.
All right. See you next time.